What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. I hope you guys are having a great week so far. It's Labor Day here in America, so we have the day off. Unfortunately, it's my normal day off anyway, so I get no extra break this week. But that being said, we're here. We're going to have some fun. We're going to do another Void Linux install video. I know you're probably getting sick of them, but my past few videos have actually garnered comments of, hey man, you've done plenty of install videos for Void Linux, but you basically stop at the TTY. Why don't you have anything that shows setting up a desktop environment? While I do have older videos where I walk through, it's a series of I think 3 videos where I walk through installing Void Linux, then installing DWM, and then patching DWM. I figured I would maybe update that a little bit, and we're going to actually install a desktop environment. Now, I was specifically requested setting up Gnome or Gnome, so that's what we're going to do today. We're going to walk through a Void install of Void Linux, and then we are going to install Gnome, and we are going to boot up in that. So that way you have a full video to watch that walks you from nothing to a Gnome desktop environment. So that being said, let's jump over to my second workspace here, or to my second monitor, excuse me, and let's go ahead and launch a terminal. Maybe. Sorry, we're a little slow. There you go. I'm still working a few bugs out with this whole DWL setup and OBS and multiple monitors, and it's not quite as seamless as DWM was. So you'll have to bear with me if there's lagging or any issues like that. But we now have a terminal launched. Let's go ahead and zoom in so you can see what's going on, and let's clear the screen, and now let's do my addvm.sh script. So welcome to InstaVM. Let's add a new virtual machine. So we're going to call this void gnome. We will give it, we'll just say 6 CPUs for today. We'll do 8192 for the mem. Path to ISO, I have it downloaded in my home, Jake, media, ISO, and it's void live x86-64 from 2/2/2025. So we're going to go ahead and enter the disk size. We'll go ahead and give it 50 gigs. Type of OS, we're going to do Linux 2020. Hit enter, and we are going to do a UEFI setup. So let's check to make sure everything's correct. We've got number of CPUs 6, 8192. The path to the ISO is good, 50 gigabytes. Linux, we are good to go. So we're going to click yes, hit enter to continue, and give that a second, and that should boot up for us. We can actually get rid of this window now. I need to update my script to where it automatically gets rid of that window, but for now we can just close it. So let's go ahead and take a second here to boot into Void Linux, and we will get going with our install. So I promise, well, I can't say I promise, but I'm hoping maybe this will be my last Void install video for a while. I do have a lot of them out. The ZFS file system, the chroot, the chroot with encryption, a couple of the Void installers, the new Void installer, and now this one. So there's a lot of Void install videos going on. I know you guys are probably getting sick of them. It's probably costing me a bit in the whole, yeah, we don't need to watch that again department. But, you know, I'm trying to do what I can for people when they request stuff. So we're going to go ahead and do that. So let's go ahead and log in. We're going to say root, and then we are going to say void Linux and hit enter. Let's clear the screen. Oh, yeah, we're not in bash. So, okay. So now let's go ahead and run void-installer. And let's install Void Linux. So right here we see welcome to the Void Linux installation. A simple, minimal Linux distribution made from scratch and built from the source package tree available for XBPS. Yes, we are going to go ahead and hit enter. Let's go ahead and set up our keyboard. We're going to hit OK. I am a English keyboard, so we're going to say EN. Set up the network. If you're on Wi-Fi here, you're going to have to go ahead and set up your network. I am on a virtual machine, so it actually just sees it like it's a hardwired connection. So we're just going to click yes. Do we want to use DHCP for ETH0 or ETH0? Yes. Shows my network is working properly. So source installation, okay. We are going to do network because we don't want all the stuff off the ISO. We're going to go ahead and select a mirror. So if you want to read through this, it says basically for the best experience, choose something that's close to you and a tier 1, or you can use the Fastly repo. We're going to go ahead and click OK. I am in North America, and Chicago is the closest one, the closest tier 1 to me, so we're going to go ahead and hit enter, and yes. Okay, host name. We're going to go ahead and set a host name. We're going to set a host name of void Gnome and hit enter. Set the locale. We are EN US UTF-8. So let's go ahead and go to EN. Let's see here, US UTF-8 right there. Hit enter. So you're going to want to choose your time zone, your locale, I mean. Set our time zone. We're going to go ahead and do America. We are in Chicago, roughly. Not really, but that's the closest one. Set the root password. We are going to give it a super secret, uncrackable password. We're going to set it again. There's no way anybody would ever crack that. User account. We're going to go ahead and add Jake as a user account and hit OK. And the display name for the login is going to be Jake as well. Our password is going to be another super secret, uncrackable password that is by no means the same as the root password. Select group membership for Jake. Now, I'm not going to select anything else, but if you want to, you can go through here and select different groups to be a member of. We're just going to leave it as is and hit enter. Bootloader disk to install bootloader. Yes, we want to install it to our dev VDA. You're going to want to install it to whatever disk you want your bootloader on. Make sure you select the correct one. Use a graphical terminal for the bootloader. Yes, sir. We're going to go ahead and partition disks now. If we hit enter, we're going to select the dev VDA. Make sure you select the correct disk that you want to install Void on. Otherwise, you're going to be in some trouble. So we are going to do that. A lot of times on my own, I've said this before, I use fdisk, but for the sake of this video, we're just going to use cfdisk. Now, again, on here, make sure you read through this. If you're using BIOS systems, MBR or GPT, partition tables are required. To use GPT on a PC BIOS system, an empty partition of 1 megabyte must be added to the first 2 gigabytes of the disk with the partition type BIOS boot. That is not us, or not me. If that's you, pay attention to that. For EFI systems, GPT is mandatory, and FAT32 partition with at least 100 megabytes must be created with the partition type EFI system. This will be used as the EFI system partition, and the partition must have the mount point of /boot/EFI. I can't tell you how many people I have heard say, hey, grub doesn't work, hey, my install failed because blah, blah, blah. Make sure your EFI partition is created if you're doing EFI, and it is the EFI system partition, and it is mounted at /boot/EFI. Otherwise, yes, you will have issues. So, at least one partition is required for the root file system for home, and you can also have for the root file system at /. You can have another partition for /home and whatever, and /storage and whatever else, but you got to make sure you have the EFI partition and at least one more partition. So we're going to go ahead and click OK. We need GPT. We're going to select new, and we want it to be 258M and hit enter. And we're going to go over to type, and we're going to go right up here to EFI file system. Now let's scroll down to free space. We're going to hit enter on new again. We're going to backspace here, and we're going to say 20G for our root. So let's say type, and I'm going to scroll down here to root x86-64. Now we're going to go to the free space again, hit enter for new. We're going to leave it at 29.7, hit enter. We're going to go over to type, and this is going to be scrolled down to Linux home. So now we have our dev VDA1 as our EFI system. We have dev VDA2 as our Linux root x86-64. And we have our VDA3 as Linux home. So we can scroll over here to write, hit enter. And are you sure you want to write the partition table to disk? You have to type yes, not Y, but yes. So type YES, hit enter. And you can now quit. We now have a successfully partitioned drive. We can now add file systems. So we are going to select dev VDA1 and hit enter. For the sake of this video, we're going to scroll down here and we're going to do VFAT. And mount point, remember it said /boot/EFI. So we're going to go ahead and hit enter. Create a file system, yes. Now for VDA2, our root directory, we're just going to use ext4. We're going to say the mount point is root and hit enter. And enter for yes. And dev VDA3, we're going to hit enter. We're going to say ext4 as well. And that is going to be /home and hit OK. Do you want to create a new file system? Yes. We can go over here to done. We now have VDA1 is VFAT, VDA2 is ext4, and VDA3 is ext4 as well. Go ahead and hit done. And let's go to the install, because we now have a keyboard, network, source, mirrors, hostname, locale, time zone, root password, user account, bootloader, partition, and file systems all done. So we're going to hit install. This is going to take a second, or a few minutes actually. Well, not even a few minutes, maybe a minute or so, maybe a little longer, give or take. And the longer I ramble, the longer it takes. So let's just go ahead and hit install. Do you want to continue? Yes, we want to continue. This is going to go ahead and take a second. I'm probably going to cut this out. OBS does not like to let me pause for some reason at the moment. So yeah, it's just going to go. I'll trim the video in the editing process and we will cut this out. But there's going to be some silence here for a minute as I mute the mic. And when this is done, we'll be back.
A few moments later.
Okay, we are just about finished here. It's finishing up the last bit, and we will have a couple more steps before we can go ahead and reboot the system, but it shows we did 139 downloaded, 139 installed, nothing updated, 139 configured, and 0 removed. We can hit enter for OK. It's going to walk through configuring the base system packages. Once that gets done, we can actually start some services if we would like. And then we can reboot the system and get moving on with installing Gnome. So we'll give this a second here to do its thing. And then once that's done, we can go ahead and reboot the system and get into our void TTY where I normally stop. But this time, guess what? All you lucky guys, we're going to actually continue on and go with Gnome. Now, I am not a fan of Gnome. I haven't ever been able to use Gnome. I don't like the workflow. I don't really care for it. It's not for me. But I know a lot of people love it, and this was a specific request from a gentleman. So, yeah, I figured we will give it a go and get Gnome set up. And, yeah, so hopefully this is going to work for him, and he's watching, and there's other people out there that like Gnome. So, this is going to take a second, just about finished. And, okay, we are good to go. We're going to apply the settings. And once that's done, I think it goes, yep, to the select services to enable. You can scroll down here and enable some services. I am not going to do any of that. But if you want like WPA supplicant or IP tables or DHC PCD, any of that stuff, which obviously that is already selected. But if you want to select anything else, you can go ahead and do that now. Go ahead and hit OK. Void Linux has been installed successfully. Do you want to reboot? And we're going to say yes. Now, this is going to take a second. It'll reboot the system, and then we can get moving. So, nice quick reboot. We're going to select Void Linux, and it is going to take a second to boot up, but we should get to a TTY here real soon. And yes, there we are. We can log in with our username and our super secret uncrackable password. Now, first thing you're going to want to do is we're going to want to add ourselves to the sudoers file. So what we're going to do is we are going to do a SU and enter our super secret password, and then do /bin. Yeah, see, this is, so we're going to do /bin/bash. Maybe. No. /bin/bash. Enter. There we go. Now we have all the key bindings we can use. I can use backspace and all that stuff. As you can see, I am very poor at typing, so I had to use backspace like 3 times, and it doesn't let you when you are not in bash shell. So now that we are in here, we are going to do xbps-install. Now, you don't have to do this, but I'm just doing this because I prefer not to use vi. I can, but it's just slightly annoying. So we're going to install Vim. We're going to say yes. I'm going to give this a second to install. Let's go ahead and clear the screen. And now we're going to do editor. Editor equals Vim. And we're going to say by sudo. And hit enter. And now we can come down here. And actually, if we just do a search and we look for wheel and hit enter, we can come right here, scroll back. We're going to uncomment this wheel line. Then we are going to enter, and we're going to say Jake, not in caps, all equals, and then in parentheses, all, all, space, all. And we're going to escape, right, and quit. That adds us to the sudoers group. We are going to exit from the super user, and we are going to, or that's exiting from bash, excuse me. So now we're going to exit from super user, and now we are back as our normal user. And now, to actually get Gnome up and going, there's a few things we have to install. So we are going to do a sudo xbps-install dbus. We are going to install elogind. We are going to install xorg. We are going to install Gnome. And we're going to install Gnome. There we go. Apps. So we need dbus, elogind, xorg, Gnome, and Gnome apps. And so we're going to go ahead and hit enter. We're going to enter our super secret password again. And hit enter. That I just screwed up because I can't see around my microphone when I'm typing, but let's try it again and hit enter. There we go. So it's going to take a minute to install all this stuff. So again, I apologize. OBS is not wanting to cooperate real well with me, so I am going to hit enter, and it's just going to be dead air for a second on my end. Once the video is done, I will basically cut all this out.
A few moments later.
Okay, we are all set. Now, that took maybe about 5-ish minutes or so. So in the grand scheme of things, not that long, but when you're sitting here trying to do something, seems like it takes forever. Xorg is a big package, or has a lot of packages, and Gnome is not small by any means, so it just took a long time to go through and get it all installed and set up. But luckily for you, I was able to cut it all out, and we are here now with everything installed, and we need to just now set up a couple services and move on along our way. So now that we've got everything installed, what we want to do is we want to do a sudo ln-s, and we're going to do etc sv, and we're going to dbus. And we're going to link that to var service and hit enter. Super secret password again. Now we're going to press up, and we're going to come back here, and we are going to get rid of dbus and do elogin d and hit enter. And so that links elogin d and gets that fired off. And then last one we're going to do is we should be able to come back and switch out elogin d for GDM, which is the Gnome Display Manager. And once we do that, we'll give it a second, and it should restart and launch the Display Manager. If not, we can just reboot and get going. So let's go ahead and hit enter, link that. We will give it a second to see if it actually fires off on its own. It might not. It might. We'll have to see. If not, we can do a sudo sv restart oh no, there we go. It's going to do it on its own. It just takes a second. Let's see what we got. There we go. We have GDM. We have our user here. We're going to select Jake, and we're going to enter our super secret password. Hit enter. And what do we got? Do we have a successful install of Gnome? Give it a second, and it looks like it. There we go. We're going to go ahead and skip the tour, but you can see we have Gnome up and going. So let's go ahead and come into settings here, and let's fix this display. So let's click on settings. This is part of why I don't like Gnome. It's oof, that is bright. So let's go to appearance. Sorry if I'm blinding you guys. We're gonna go with dark. Boy, this is slow. It could be just because it's a VM. I don't know if Gnome is normally this slow or not, but yeah, it could just be because it's the VM. But let's go ahead and switch our resolution. We're gonna go with we'll do 1920 by 1080. We will apply. That's a little better. Let's keep these changes. Let's log out. So now if we go ahead and hit the super key, you can see it drops us down where we can select our different workspaces. We can come in and select our apps. So yeah, there we go. We have Gnome installed. Now I'm going to show you what you want to do if you actually want to use the Wayland version as well, because this is on Xorg. So if we go ahead and launch a console, and let's go ahead and I don't know if this, where's it full screen at? I don't know. So go ahead and launch a console. We'll just leave it there for now. I don't use console, and I don't use desktop environments anymore. So this is a bit new to me. So anyway, what we're going to do now is we're going to do xbps -install, and of course we need sudo because we are not root. xbps install, and we are going to give it Wayland devel, and Wayland protocols, and hit enter. We're going to enter our super secret password, and we're going to go ahead and error, Wayland is already okay, well it already installed Wayland for us. You know, this might be running on the Wayland itself, but do we want to install the development protocols? Sure, why not? Let's go ahead and do that, and let's go ahead and log out. Now if you recall, on the first time logging in, we did not have a way to choose a different desktop environment. So let's log out. Let's see if we can have a different way now. So it's going to launch GDM again. We're going to select Jake. It doesn't give us that yet. Let's actually reboot and see what happens. So restart. Yes, we want to restart. And actually this might throw an elogin d loop to us, and I might have to go in and unlink elogin d because GDM might do that for us. But let's just see here. I know that's what happens a lot of times on with my SDDM setup. I have to unlink elognd, but we'll give it a minute here and see what happens. Yep, see, it's going to just throw this elognd already running and not give us, oh, it is going to give it to us. Okay. But see, now we have this little icon down here. We can select and we can do Gnome or Gnome on Xorg. So you can have it on Wayland, which is going to be the standard out-of-the-box get-go, and you have it on Xorg as well. So if you want to choose Xorg, you can choose Xorg, or if you want to choose on Wayland, you just select Gnome, and then we're going to go ahead and log in with our super secret password. And give it a second here because it's a virtual machine and it's super duper slow. And there we go. We have Gnome up and going on Wayland. So hopefully this helps. Now, once you get on here, obviously, I'm sure you know how to install all the programs you want to install. And I don't know Gnome, so I'm not going to walk you through customizing it or setting it up. And if you go in here under system, I think we got like Gnome tweaks. Yeah, right there. So you can make a few changes with that. Continue. So you got like fonts. You got appearance here, sound, mousepad, keyboard, Windows. You can do startup applications. So there's a bunch of stuff you can do here. But yeah, so that gives us a actual full install going from nothing to going with, boy, my audio is way off of my sound. That's bad. I don't like it. I'll have to address that when I do my editing. So anyway, we have a Gnome setup that is allowing us to, or a void setup with Gnome on Xorg and Wayland. And yeah, so we've got that up there. Hopefully this helps you guys. Hopefully this is what this gentleman was looking for. Hopefully he watches this video. And I hope you guys have a great rest of your day, a great rest of your week. Stay safe and God bless.